So I always want to make sure, like, don't hesitate to speak up, right? Ask questions. I'm going to do my best to be able to be watching the comments that are coming in, being able to go through. So don't hesitate to be able to ask questions. If you guys have something, right, go through, raise your hand. I'm going to try and be able to get to everyone as we kind of go through this, because this is interactive. I don't want y'all all to think that I'm just here talking and speaking at everyone. If you don't know me, which I think a lot of y'all do, but I know that I'm not at every single event kind of going through. I am Joshua B. Lee. I am based here in Austin, Texas. I have a lot of friends on here. And my background, y'all, I've been in the online industry for over 20 years. Just for reference of why I'm even speaking up here to y'all and being able to go through this. One of my first clients was a company that most people have probably forgotten at this point, and especially based on your generation of where you were, you probably never used this platform. One of my first clients was MySpace. So if that ages me at all, that kind of gives you a little background about how long I've been doing this. Back in 2003 is when they were first kind of starting up, and they came to me because I was in the online advertising world working with different companies like, I would say Yahoo, but it wasn't Yahoo yet. It was Overture. And they asked me to be able to develop a way to be able to monetize their platform. So in essence, I actually helped them create one of the first social media ads to be able to monetize all their traffic that most social media ads are based off today. So with that being said, over 20 years, I've monetized almost over $1 billion worth of traffic and actually controlled over 35 trillion online impressions. And one of the biggest things I learned was there's a huge difference in traffic and actually true engagement. And that's the big thing here, right? That's why we're talking about LinkedIn. Because I think with LinkedIn, people are always looking, and so most social media platforms are looking just for traffic to be able to kind of come in. And I think that's a huge mistake that a lot of people kind of go into. Because if you're trying to be able to go through and just look for traffic or being able to go through, you're forgetting the biggest thing what's going on.
Start tracking down the bigger issues.
Hey, let's make sure we mute everybody. All right, sorry. We really want to make sure that we're building relationships, right? Because it's that know, like, and trust factor. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do it a little bit different, right? So with that being said, let's talk about today, right? Today's discussion, why LinkedIn, right? Why are we here? What's going on? One of the biggest algorithms that I think is really important is the human algorithm. And then also, what's the LinkedIn algorithm and how are we creating content, right? So these are the biggest things that I really want to be able to touch on. I know a lot of y'all heard some of the things we talked about when we were back in Carlsbad, right? But I know not everyone was there. And honestly, things have changed. It's not all the same content and the same strategies, even though the core stays the same. I was telling Michael, a lot of this is shifted and being able to go in as we continue to be able to go in with the platform, because it's always evolving. So let's get started, right? Before we go anywhere, I know we're already a couple minutes in, y'all, and I want to make sure before we okay, I've got things to do, I've got a busy day. I want everyone to really kind of think about why we get on LinkedIn. And one of the biggest reasons, the biggest elephant in the room when we talk about LinkedIn, I mentioned it before, right? I talked about spamming, right? We always get those connections. Hey, Josh, I see you wearing a shirt. Me too, let's connect, right? They're exhausting, right? We don't want to let them get those. So when we're talking about LinkedIn requests and being able to connect to other people, really want to talk about the 7 that we all get or have done. Like I said, hey, I noticed we have blue shirts in common, right? We all have got that. We've all been there. There's like, oh my God, who's this person? What are they about to pitch me, right? We've got do you have 15 minutes to talk to a total stranger? Not really, because what's going on? Because as soon as we connect, they're going to want to be able to get on a phone call with us and be able to pitch. It's so different being able to go through here. Other ones that we look at, the buzzword artists. What are the cool keywords they're trying to be able to do? These days, a year ago, it was Web3. Now it's being able to go through. It's AI. Are you using AI? What's going on, right? These are the different keywords they're trying to be able to grab us with and grab our attention to be able to then pitch us to be able to go through. Next, I run a team that can help you with whatever you do. Why? Because I actually didn't take time to be able to actually go out and look actually what you actually do to be able to actually build that connection, be able to go through. So they're just going through the same thing. Hey, whatever you need, I got you. Hey, you're in marketing, I got you, right? It's just being able to do lead generation. And no one likes to be a lead. When they're doing this, honestly, we're talking about they're doing it 1,000 times a day, y'all. And in the long run, they might be able to get that one sale, but what are they doing? All they're doing is pissing off 999 people trying to get to the one lead. There's a better way to be able to do it. Next, when we look at it, I'm so busy networking, I don't have time to write a note. Pray and pray. I'm telling y'all, I mean, look, when I look about it, look, I'm not trying to play Pokemon on LinkedIn. I think that's the biggest thing that most people are doing. They're on LinkedIn trying to be able to play Pokemon, trying to catch them all, right? And this is why you have such a massive issue with your feed. You have a massive issue with spamming because you're just sending a connection request or hitting that accept button every single time, right? That's a big issue. If you send me a connection request and there's no reason or I don't know who you are, I'm not going to connect, right? I'm not trying to be able to do those things. We've got the, if you accept my pitch, I'm going to thank you with a nonstop sales pitch. Now, the crazy thing about this is not only are they, once you connect, are they pitching you on LinkedIn? Guess what? Now they're pitching you via text because they're scraping your phone number. They're pitching you via an email because they're scraping your email. I mean, it's exhausting. Like if I didn't accept your pitch on LinkedIn, please text me, please email me, right? Like that's what I'm really looking for. And I think this is what continues to be able to upset a lot of people. Because what we're actually looking for when we're connecting with someone on LinkedIn is that relationship, right? Someone we might actually know. So the biggest thing I want you to all think about as you start with this, if you take nothing away from me today, is when you're connecting with someone else on LinkedIn, go through, make sure that we're really being able to go through and build a relationship, right? We want to start a conversation that creates a relationship that opens up an opportunity. If you're trying to skip to opportunity right out the gate, you're just as bad as all the other spammers out there. And you're actually not really adding to the platform, you're taking away from it, and you're not actually helping yourself out. So, make sense? Good. All right, y'all. Let's really jump into this. So when we're talking about today, why LinkedIn, right? We all have LinkedIn. We all probably, some of us created LinkedIn back in 04 when it first kicked off, right? I mean, LinkedIn, actually 03, I should say, because its 20 years anniversary was this year for LinkedIn. If y'all think about it, tell me another platform, social media platform that's been around for 20 plus years, right? That we all continue to be able to use. If that says anything for you, that shows the evolution of the platform, that it's standing the test of time. I mean, even these days, half of us don't even use Facebook anymore because it's just not what we're looking for, right? More and more people are actually moving to LinkedIn because it's been there, because it continues to evolve and be able to change. That's why, again, we're looking at LinkedIn, right? There's almost 1 billion members worldwide. So you can connect with anyone, no matter where you are in the world, being able to kind of go through. And that's the biggest shift. We continue to be able to people see jump and join LinkedIn, right? It's not the multi-billion platforms that you see on other things, because it's not a platform that I'm going to be able to lose myself in someone else's life. We're going there to be able to actually build relationships, build connections, create opportunity with other like-minded individuals. I mean, look, LinkedIn is the largest global community of business professionals, right? 4 to 5 people are driving decisions, right? 61 million users in the US are influencers, right? We've got all these 33% of decision makers are using LinkedIn to research before they even make a decision. So these are the reasons why we're on this platform, right? Male versus female, not that much different, but I'm telling you, ladies, massive, massive opportunity for you to be able to stand out, to be able to step up and really be able to get your voice heard on this platform to really create a massive difference. Some of the other things I look at when I look at LinkedIn, as I told you, 2 people are joining every second. Just in the last 13 minutes that we've been on, think of how many new people and how that platform's grown. 20 years, there's still people still joining brand new that aren't on LinkedIn, right? So there's a massive, massive opportunity. Mobile shifting more and more. So how are you creating your content based on the people that are using their mobile phones on LinkedIn rather than use their desktop? Now, if you didn't know, LinkedIn was purchased by Microsoft a couple years back, one of the largest cash purchases ever, $26.2 billion. And they've been able to multiple X that relationship time and time again. And one of the biggest things I want you to pay attention to that's changed this year, Microsoft invested $10 billion in OpenAI, right? If you don't know OpenAI, you've probably heard of ChatGPT, right? It's everywhere. Well, I say it's everywhere because it's funny. I was reading stats, y'all, recently, and it was going through and they were like, you know what? So many people, I was looking at the stats, I think it was like only 70% of all Americans have actually heard of ChatGPT. And when you look at that, heard of it, then how many people are using it? I mean, like I'm in a bubble where everyone's talking about AI all the time, but only 14% of all Americans actually use it on a regular basis. So really, we're at a precipice of where it's going. And I mean, what Microsoft's doing with LinkedIn is insane. I mean, we'll go into it a little bit deeper, But I mean, like what they're implementing, where they're going. I mean, I promise you, if you're not on LinkedIn now, if anyone kind of follows that kind of whole realm, I mean, it's one of the reasons why Elon Musk really bought Twitter, right? To be able to actually mimic and map the human algorithm, what they're doing, how people are engaging, what are going on. LinkedIn's looking at the same thing with OpenAI. They're mapping LinkedIn, being able to go through. And we'll talk about that, how it works in SEO as well on the next slide. But like the other thing I want y'all to pay attention to is, hold on one second. Michael, am I the only one that can hear the beeping over and over and over again?
No, it's someone's AI coming in and out.
Oh my God. Okay. I'm like, I can't figure it out.
It
And I'm
looks like
trying.
it
Do you
could
have
be
it
Richard
set?
Fathom's AI. So if you can maybe remove that, I don't know.
Which
Do you have
one is it?
so people can enter automatically, or do they have to wait in a waiting room?
It's the same thing. It's going 71, 72. It's the same person.
All right. I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out what's going on because I don't see it on my end, y'all.
Nico said it could be Richard Fathom's.
Richard, yeah. I'm pretty sure Fathom is an AI, so it'd be Richard Fathom, whatever. I don't know who Richard is in here.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh my God, who's
am I having a stroke?
You should be able to just knock somebody out.
All right, look, I'm getting rid of the read AI. Let's see if that does it. Yeah. I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, well, hopefully no one else can hear it. I'm glad I stopped to talk. So I was like, oh
Not
my
for
God.
me. It's just stuff for me.
All right, I think I figured it out. It was the read AI. All right, cool. And the bad thing of what's even crazier, feel really bad, think that was mine. So I'm the fault, I'm the problem. Sorry about that, y'all. Oh, you know, it's always fun. At least I can be honest about it. All right. Got report. So back to LinkedIn. Let's talk about this, y'all. I mean, like, seriously, like one of the things that we continue to be able to see is like, how do I want to be on the platform? We want to be on the platform where people can actually afford our products and services as well. So one of the pieces on here as well I haven't talked about is average salary, right? So when we talk about average salary, we've got different platforms. We've got Twitter. Last time I checked, it was about $58,000 a year. Facebook is about $61,000 a year. What's everyone think, right? Put in the comments, like, what do y'all think that average income? Now, I know Ira's on here, amazing. He knows more. He knows just as much about LinkedIn as I do, and I love him to death. So he can't guess. But for everyone else, like, what do y'all think the average income on LinkedIn is these days? All right, 150, 100,000, 70, 165, 140, 75. All right, so we're in a good range, y'all. Like everyone, what I see everyone understanding is that the average income is more than the other platforms, right? And we're talking about average. The average income last time I checked was about $121,000 a year, almost double the other platforms. So that's amazing, right? Like we want to be able to kind of go through and be able to see that this opportunity is here for us to be able to connect to people that actually have the buying power to be able to afford our products and services as we're connecting with them, right? So how do we actually be able to go through it? What are we looking at, right? So these are the reasons why I think LinkedIn is so powerful for y'all to be able to take time and energy and effort to be able to actually build your personal brand, to be able to stand out and to be able to build relationships with other opportunities. Now, the last piece I want to talk to y'all about today when we're talking about why LinkedIn is this. LinkedIn and SEO. I mean, we've all heard SEO. It's been around for years. I mean, you can hire companies for anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month that potentially will get you to the top of Google in about 6 months, maybe, right? Well, one of the secret sauces about LinkedIn is the Moz score. The Moz score is how actually SEO is ranked, right? Based on Google. So when you look at a LinkedIn, it's 100 out of 100, right? That is phenomenal. That means all your content from your profile to your posts, now your comments, something new that's recently rolled out here recently, are all getting indexed, not only by LinkedIn, but by Google, the one platform we all want to be found on. So get on there, right? We want to make sure that we're adding everyone. We're going through, we're connecting, and we're really adding a lot of content value. Now, this is the cool thing, right? I was talking about AI. Y'all, if they're doing this with SEO, what do you think they're going to be doing with OpenAI, with ChatGPT? They are going to be indexing the hell. They've already told us that. They're going to be indexing everything that's coming in on LinkedIn into Google. You want to be seen as the thought leader, as the person that people go to, as where they're going at, to be able to have your content leveraged in this AI revolution that's happening right now. You better be creating content that adds value, that educates your audience, that inspires them on LinkedIn, because that content is going to be used with these AI systems to be able to input the results for everyone else, that the other 95% of the industry that's trying to be able to find out how to be able to use it and leverage it and find the right content. So look, that's what we're talking about LinkedIn. And in short, LinkedIn is where people go to connect, learn, and do business with other professionals. It's where high value relationships are built that convert into real opportunities. This is why we're talking about LinkedIn today, right? This is why we want to be on there. This is why I want everyone, all our coin carriers, to be on the platform, leveraging your influence and building high value relationships, not just getting a whole bunch of likes, not just getting a whole bunch of views. That's cool. But I'm going to be honest, y'all, I don't dance very well. So TikTok really doesn't play well for me. I mean, the last time I danced was about 3 years ago. You know what happened? I took about 5 steps in and I ripped my Achilles. So, I was doing my white guy dance, and then, dude, I just went down. So like, that's why I spend my time on LinkedIn, because I don't need a dance, right? I show up, my true value shows up, and the right people will be able to build those relationships and those conversations. So how does it work, right? We talked about LinkedIn, and one of the biggest things I want everyone to think about is, I get people all the time, like, Josh, like, I've been in the marketing, advertising, social media industry for a long time. So like, it's not that I don't get, hey, how do you get the Instagram algorithm work? What's the next trick or hack for the Facebook algorithm? What's the next trick, hack, whatever, to be able to go in for the LinkedIn algorithm? If you're trying to be able to use the next trick or hack, you're always going to beat the algorithm. You're always going to be looking for the next trick or hack. The one algorithm that doesn't change, that only evolves with time, is the human algorithm. And once you understand that, how you actually communicate with other human beings on and offline, it won't matter. It will stand the test of time. You will be able to connect with people forever and not have to be able to change everything you're doing every single month, sometimes every single week, based on what these other systems are trying to be able to beat all the people that are building the hacks, the tricks, the whatever it might be, right? So this is what we want to think about, right? There is no B2B or B2C. B2B and B2C were created decades ago by guys like me to be able to diversify ad spend, right? I get it, right? B2C, business to consumer, business to business. But every company is run by another human being. Most marketers forget that. So it's all H to H. And once we understand that, it's how we actually communicate and how we actually build those relationships, that we're not talking at people, but we're talking with people. We're writing conversation. We're having conversations online. We're building those relationships. It shifts the entire perspective. And it's not a game anymore. It's just the way of being. And that's what I want you all to be able to think about, right? What we're trying to be able to do is, right, look, read this, right? We live in a digital and social media first world. Human connectivity is being lost. Building personal brands and business brands be moving away from that mass messaging. We want to be thought leaders with influence. I don't want to be an influencer. An influencer is one of those people on Instagram, on TikTok, that are dancing around trying to sell their sunglasses or their clothes or whatever it is. I want you and I want me to be a thought leader with influence. That's a massive shift, right? People think about that differently. So how do we do that? Well, we've really got to be able to understand what's the human condition of being online, right? Why are people online? What's going on, right? Like, the human condition online, like, I'm an only child. So I've studied this my entire life, right? I didn't have built-in brothers or sisters, right? Being able to go through. So I really had to understand how to be able to connect and really build relationships with other people, because I didn't have that built in, having a brother or sister. So the human condition of being online and actually monetizing and really going through all that traffic over the years taught me that huge thing, the human condition of being online. Who here has seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix? Anybody? All right. I see Michael's got his hand. Both Michael's got their hands up, right? Anna's got their hands up. I mean, like, this movie, I remember my mom watched it. She was like, oh my God, I can't believe they're doing that to us. I was like, yeah, I've been doing this for a while. They've been conditioning us, right? Conditioning us over 20 years, right? Being able to go through to be able to do this. Post, like, comment, share. Post, like, comment, share. Post, like, comment, share. That's our pattern of being online, right? That's the conditioning we look for. Not even think, just to do. And we continue to be able to stay in this pattern. As marketers, we have to be able to understand, how do we actually get someone's attention, right? Well, to get someone's attention, we have to break a pattern. And so in this world, if I want to be able to break someone's pattern, how do we do that? it really dawned on me, and we were doing this before, but it dawned on me even more, and we saw this more prevalent than ever in COVID. With COVID, we started really realizing all the things that we took for granted. We took for granted that we didn't have to wear a mask every day. We took for granted that we could go out to dinner with my wife anytime I wanted. You know, the biggest thing I took for granted? I took for granted that my kids actually went to school and had amazing teachers. And I took for granted that I was not a good teacher for my kids every day. That was the biggest revelation ever. I was like, oh my God. I thought I could be able to go through, and my kids being at home every day and being able to do this, I was like, okay, this is, I lack right here. Like, I really need to make sure these teachers get paid even more now, because I need them to be able to help my kids, because I cannot the way that they do. So these are the things we take for granted. On social media, we take for granted when someone likes or comments on our posts a lot of time. When we like or comment someone's post, actually, right? We like people's posts all the time, we comment it, we move on, right? I guarantee you couldn't tell me all the likes or comments you gave yesterday on social media. I guarantee you on LinkedIn, you take for granted all the people that are looking at your profile every single day. So how do we actually do that? Well, in life, we have to appreciate the things that we take for granted and acknowledge that, right? We have to appreciate people for something they take for granted every single day. That's how you create a stopgap in someone's pattern. So what we do at Standard Authority is we engage with people that engage with you, right? Here's our basic funnel being able to go through. This is really quick, right? We're going through, and the things that I'm talking about, y'all, they're just the things that my mom taught me how to be able to treat other human beings. I'm just doing it online, right? We're posting clear, consistent content. We're appreciating people. Hey, I noticed, Michael, you liked my post the other day. I just want to reach out and say thank you. You know, too often we don't appreciate that. I'd love to be able to connect with you and find out what pushed you to check me out. Anna, I noticed that you looked at my profile the other day. I just want to take 2 seconds out and say thank you. You know, too often we don't appreciate people looking me up. And, you know, I'd love to find out what pushed you to look me up, right? Love to find out, because we want to have a conversation, right? Conversations lead to relationships. Relationships open opportunities. And so when we look at it, it's going through, right? I'm appreciating, I'm complimenting, right? Kind of like meeting someone for the first time. I meet someone, I go through and I'm like, oh my God, dude, love your shoes, right? Like, if y'all know me, huge Nike guy. So, I mean, I'm noticing shoes all the time, right? So like, cool shoes. I don't care if I know you're not. Love your dog, cool hat. We do it all the time. From compliment, we're going in to qualify, asking about someone else. And then we're providing value, right? All these are little hits of dopamine that put someone into a flow state, allowing you to be able to build that relationship and have that conversation and create opportunity, making it about them. Now, I'm not going to go into all this specifically, but I wanted to be able to give y'all very quickly how we actually work on LinkedIn to be able to build these mini conversations that create massive opportunity for not only myself, but for our clients. All right, let me let somebody else in here. There we go. So on the other side of it, that's people that are engaging with you. Why do people post online? The other side of it. Any guesses? Now, I'll look in the chat, right? Drop in the chat, like, I'm no judgment here. Why do people post online? Now, if you know the answer, don't drop it in, because I know some of y'all have heard me before. But, you know, why do people post online? To sell something, to get attention. All right. Any other guesses? So to get into offer, to receive value, to validate, right? All these things, to feel noticed, right? To get clients, to build brand awareness. These are all the things that we believe. But remember, I talked about 20 years of conditioning, right? All these social media platforms have been conditioning us for 20 years. They've been conditioning us for the dopamine hit. We all look for that dopamine hit we get when someone likes or comments on our post. Then it's everything else, right? They've been conditioning us to be able to look for that dopamine hit because we gave that like, we put a post out there like, am I going to get validated, right? And we go, that validation is that like or comment. And then it's branding, and then it's awareness, then it's relationship, then it's conversation. So how do we shift that paradigm, right? How do we understand that everyone posts online for, if I want to be able to get someone's attention, I have to become a dopamine dealer. That's how I got my title on LinkedIn, the dopamine dealer of LinkedIn, right? It was just, honestly, I was explaining this exact process to someone on a podcast years ago, and next thing I know, the podcast came out like, Joshua B. Lee, dopamine dealer of LinkedIn, and it stuck, right? I mean, it's funny, y'all. You'd be amazed at how many people, how many messages I get. They go, dude, how much does dopamine cost? Like, you know, what do you sell it in? Like grams, ounces? And I'm like, okay, come on. Like, there's a little, sometimes there's something, take the reference point, just be a little clear on what's going on. It's funny on how some of these things play out. But so how do we become a dopamine dealer, right? Well, one of the best ways to be able to do it is to be able to get your client's attention, to be able to get the ideal audience you're looking to be able to get out there, right? Let's say I want to get Maury's attention, right? Maury's amazing, or Mitch's attention, right? Well, what I want to be able to do is I want to listen, right? I want to like, comment, share on his post, right? I want to listen and find the right prospects. I then want to engage on his content. And then I want to reach out and say, hey, Maury, hey, Mitch, I saw your recent post, man. I just want to take 2 seconds out and say thank you. Notice these aren't changing, y'all. We're not talking about massive different, funnels being able to go through. I'm not designing an entire new funnel. It's just the beginning, right? Engage the people that engage you. What we're looking for is trigger points. All of us hate cold calls and cold email. I promise you, when your phone rings and you say hello and the person doesn't answer, or it says spam on your phone right now, you're not answering the phone, right? Being able to go through. So how do we shift that, right? How do we actually go through? Well, trigger points are someone looked at my profile, someone engaged in my content, or my ideal audience posted great content, right? These are all opportunities that they've taken action with now for us to be able to say thank you. Once they connect, don't do what everyone does, right? They pitch, they talk about themselves. No, you give a compliment, right? Endorse their skills. From endorsement, what do? They respond back. LinkedIn goes, hey, thank you so much for endorsing me. Now you're able to go through, ask, happy to do it. Hey, while I have you, I'd love to understand your thought process on this, right? Once they respond, we can provide value. When you do this on a regular basis every single day, and I'm not telling you all this is easy. This takes a lot of time, energy, and effort. I mean, we have entire teams to be able to do this for our clients, but when you do this, it creates massive opportunity, especially at a higher level. All of our clients have $5,000 products or higher, right? Some of our clients have $50,000 products they sell on a monthly basis. And this works because you're looking for a relationship. You're making it about them and you're dealing dopamine at each level, not to heighten them, but to put them in a flow state of conversation and relationship. So the biggest thing I want you all to be able to take away from this section is mass messaging, over promotional content, fake news, and selling. We're tired of the BS. No one wants it. They don't want to be able to go in, right? In this digital social media world, driven relationships are the way to build business, right? We've got to start the conversation, which I showed you how to be able to do, right? Trigger points. To build that relationship, now start making it about them to offer value to create the opportunity. This is the way that you want to be able to go. Brandon, what's an example of a qualifying question? All right, so one of the ways I want you to think about a qualifying question is don't go out and say, like, how much money do you make, right? Or do you need sales teams, right? Those are yes or no answers. Those will shut you down really quickly. Mindset is the best way to be able to think about when you're going in to be able to ask a qualifying question, y'all. So 2 clients of mine, some of y'all might have heard of them or not, Dan Sullivan, Joe Polish, right? Like the question that I designed for them was, happy to offer the endorsement. Hey, quick question for you while I have you. Do you consider yourself an entrepreneur or a business owner with an entrepreneurial mindset? The reason why we ask this question is an A, B, and silent answer C question, right? Being able to go through. Because as an entrepreneur, I look at entrepreneurs as, look, I don't want to be an entrepreneur my entire life. That's a hustle, right? People go, I'm a lifetime entrepreneur. Dude, that's exhausting, right? So that means either they're exhausted or they're brand new in their business. Business owner with an entrepreneurial mindset, now they're forward thinking. They probably have a team, a little far along, bigger opportunity. And then I have silent answer C. I work for somebody else. Understanding where they are allows me to add value where they are and meet them at that place. So that's an example, Brandon, of a question that we've asked with some amazing people to be able to go through and create that opportunity and create value, right? And you always want to leave every conversation, like, not start leading with value. We want to leave with value. So no matter if someone gives you an answer they don't like, that you don't like, that says, oh, they're not my client, always provide value, leave with value. How do you actually give them something and leave that opportunity saying, here's a free PDF, here's a free plus shipping book, here's this, right? Always creating advocates first. Advocates are more powerful than clients, y'all. Looking for clients is a one-to-one relationship. Finding an advocate is more powerful because an advocate can bring me 100 clients. So we always want to make sure we leave every opportunity creating those advocates, because even if they're not ready now, they might be ready later. And if they're not ready later, they might introduce you to some other amazing people. So this is what I want you to think about when you're actually going through this process. So we talked about, I had to go real deep on the human algorithm, because I think most people miss that. They go, here's all the LinkedIn stuff, right? Now, here's all the LinkedIn stuff. LinkedIn algorithm. Now, this matters, right? It goes through some of the baseline of the LinkedIn algorithm is, one of these things we've all probably heard about kind of going through. It adjusts based on going in, is the social selling index score, right? So SSI score, you can go to Google and type in SSI score, LinkedIn to be able to find what yours is. If you have Sales Navigator, which is LinkedIn's built-in CRM system, you can be able to find there as well. But what it's based off of, the 4 core values and why I love LinkedIn is establishing a personal brand, finding the right people, engaging with insights, and building relationships. What did I miss out on here? Like, we think about other platforms, Instagram, Facebook, some of these other ones. I didn't say how much money you spent, right? The base of this algorithm is not how much money you spend. It's not a pay-to-play platform. This is why I love it, right? This is all about building relationships and adding value to the platform. And so what we continue to be able to see is 0 to 30 for scores there. Kind of like put your name in your test. I remember years ago, SAT scores, right? Like when I was in high school, put your name in their test. They're like, your name, good job, 300 points. They're like, yay. It's kind of like LinkedIn. 0 to 30, I'm going to be honest. You know your name, you put it up there. You didn't do much else, right? Kind of going in. Engaged, right? 46 to maybe 69. These are people you're kind of more of a voyeur. You're looking at other people's content. You're liking occasionally. The leaders, what we continue to be able to see, those are the scores at SSI of 70 and above, right? You're posting content, you're engaging, you're building relationships. And we continue to be able to see 70 above gives you a 20% reach, 25% reach on average on your content. Now, it's not just about the content reach and not about just having a score, right? So one of the ways I like to be able to show is the social selling index score. I want people to come to you. I don't want everyone to come to y'all always looking for someone to be able to buy your product or service or build that relationship, right? So when we see that, when we look at how LinkedIn works and your SSI score being under 70, we usually see people show up anywhere from 0 to 100 times in search results on a weekly basis, right? Some decent companies kind of going in there. 70 above, massive shift, right? Massive company difference. What's the opportunity for everyone here of having people look at them 36 times a week or almost 2,000 times a week? If you have your profile built out right, and we don't have time to be able to go through and do an entire profile build, first and foremost, y'all, that's the most important thing for y'all to be able to do, is that's where the magic happens on that profile, to be able to make sure it's built out really, really well. But that opportunity comes to you, right? So these are the things I want to do. Let me see here. Kim, can you touch on LinkedIn University and how LinkedIn can be a platform emailing as well? It seemed to be much more to it than it appears. Yeah, LinkedIn University is amazing. There's a lot of, Kim was asking about LinkedIn University. There's a lot of opportunity to be able to educate yourself, be able to go through. Emailing, I'm going to be honest, you already told me before, I don't spam. I'm not going to go in there. If you're going to go in, if I'm going to get, my first name on LinkedIn is Joshua B and last name's Lee. So like I get the emails all the time. Hey, Joshua B, ever thought about using LinkedIn to get leads? We're an amazing lead gen company. No, you're not. You're an amazing spamming company. You just scraped all my emails and then you sent the same message to every single person. I mean, I guess that works if you just want to piss off thousands and thousands of people. So, I mean, there's better ways to be able to do this stuff. And so that's what we want to continue to talk about. Now, I'm going to be honest, LinkedIn's constantly updating, and it's important to understand really how that algorithm works. The algorithm has 2 different networks, you as the author or the person that's engaging, right? And both of these interactions really come to play. Move this over here real quick. Really comes to play when you're determining how much growth of each post gets. So let's talk about how these kind of actually play out, y'all, because I think it's important. And look, I'm going to make sure I stay on for as long as we need to be able to answer a lot of questions, be able to go through. So I promise you I'll be able to get in, because I know, Anna, how do you improve in finding your right person score and engage with insight score? I'll definitely answer that, Anna, and be able to go through, because I think those are really, really important. I think I got some more people joining. Hold on, y'all. See, I can do it all. I can let people in. I can answer questions and give you all more insights. So the impact of an engagement on an original post, it kind of plays out like this, right? A like gets you, and it's all based on scoring, right? How bigger your score, how much more your score is how much more visibility you get, right? So the impact of your engagement on your post, 1 point, right? See more, being able to go through repost. These are all different things. As you see, the heaviest thing that weighs are comments, right? Comments from you responding to other people, and then comments from someone else, right? Now, when you look at the other side of it, the impact of engagement on the other person's network, right? How much are you getting? One of the best ways, I've gained over 10,000 followers by adding value to other people's content, by commenting on other people's posts, especially bigger influencers that are out there, not just going, hey, great post, right? By adding value, then asking a question and starting a conversation within their post. And so it really gives that more. So like, as you look at it here, there's different visibilities, right? What you want to be able to do is now the see more button, super, super important as the author, because it adds value and gives more visibility. It gives dwell time on your content. But as the person engaging, hitting the see more button doesn't have more visibility to you, right? Just making sure we're all out there. The biggest thing that continues to go on, comments that receive response from the other author, right? Comments that receive response from that. All these pieces are important. You want to be able to think about how you're actually leveraging them. So when I take a lot of this and go in to really kind of give y'all an overview, because it's quality engagement over mass content, right? As an author, receiving lots of instant reposts on your posts accelerate your reach substantially. So how many people, like this wasn't the same thing last year. Last year, reposts did nothing. What we're seeing now in 2023, receiving a lot of instant posts accelerates your reach massively. Responding to comments as an author pays off, right? You have to be able to respond to your comments, engage with people that engage with you. And the last piece as an author I want you to think about is discussions in the comments section support and really push your post to virality. So if someone's going to comment on your post, continue the conversation. Like if Maury goes in and comments on a post like, hey, Josh, amazing post. I'm going to respond to Maury and go, thanks, Maury. Man, I'd love to understand what you loved about it, right? I'm hoping to get Maury to respond again, because the more times I go back and forth and have those conversations in, the more opportunity my post is going to go more and more viral, because LinkedIn's going, wow, they're building relationships within the content. This is awesome. They're staying on the platform. That's what we want to be able to do. Now, on the flip side of it, I know I showed you all those numbers pretty quickly, but I wanted to kind of give y'all a little bit better, the summary of what it is. As the person who engages, comments are still the best strategy for curating content and becoming more visible in your network. I talked about it, right? That's what you want to be able to do. You want to be able to add. I added 10,000 followers in the last month just by adding comments to other people's posts, being able to going through and actually after you post, adding 3 comments on other people's posts, not only increases your visibility for other people drawn in, but increases the visibility of your post as well, right? Trying to get that author, your network, to respond back to your comment, right? We want trigger, ask questions, make a statement, right? Even as going through, I want to make sure that if Will's comment, I want to make sure that as the person engages, if let's say I'm Will, I want to make sure if Will's commenting on my post as Will, I want to go, hey, Josh, man, I love what you're saying here. Can you dive in a little bit deeper on X, Y, or Z? All right. Because if me as the author responds back to Will, now his visibility is going up as well too. And the last piece of that, I know we're all kind of going through, y'all. We've all heard about the likes going through. Because of all these, massive engagement pods and all the fake likes and stuff like that, likes on posts for you as the person that engages, it brings you nothing, right? It honestly doesn't give that much value. As you saw as the author too, likes don't do it. It's the comments. Comments are the fuel of the network. So you have to be able to think about how are you giving comments and how are you getting comments on your content to really be able to expand every opportunity on LinkedIn. Someone jump in? No, not. Sorry, just trying to make sure. Yeah, we did get someone else in. Does that make sense, y'all? Because what I want y'all to think about is, it's, as I said, it's not about quality engagement, and it's about quality engagement, not mass content. Content's not king anymore, right? We've all been there, Netflix Friday night, nothing to watch, right? But BS, right? There's too much to watch. There's too much content everywhere. It's quality is queen now. Quality is the way that you stand out, not only with your content, but with your comments as well. How are you adding comments that add quality responses and quality engagement, not only to your own content, but someone else's as well? So that's what I want you to be able to think about. How are we doing? We still strapped in? Do we have time? Do y'all want to be able to ask questions, or do y'all want me to go into the last piece, which is creating engaging content? You want to talk about how we create content, y'all, or do y'all want to ask more questions?
You're doing great. You're doing great, Josh.
All
Sorry
right.
to hear that.
Content.
All right. I just want to make sure. Sometimes, my wife tells me I overload with information, but I always want to give y'all as much value as possible, because I really, really think it's important for everyone to understand how to be able to do this the right way. Right. I mean, I don't want you, like I just said, I don't want you to create content for content's sake. Right. And I mean, that's the biggest thing that I want everyone to understand. Right. So when we're talking about it, here's the decision process, right? Being able to go through when you look at it, it's research, it's awareness, research, consideration, decision, right? Original selling, traditional selling happens at consideration point. But when you're doing true influencer marketing, social selling, it happens at the awareness state. People are selling online, not building relationships. We have to be able to switch that. We have to be able to shift how we're actually showing up, right? We have to go from selling to connecting, from what can I sell you to how can I help you? And that's what I want you all to understand, right? Don't forget the you and human when you're showing up. This is what we have to be able to go in, because LinkedIn is an amazing, amazing opportunity for all y'all. The organic reach is phenomenal. 96% of all B2B content marketers use LinkedIn for organic search, right? Being able to go through. The one fact on this page I want every single person to pay attention to is there are over 9 billion content impressions weekly, but only about 3 million people are sharing weekly. Remember what I told y'all? There's almost 1 billion people on LinkedIn now. Only 3 million are posting on a regular basis. That means those 3 million have access to over 9 billion impressions weekly. If that doesn't push you to create amazing, compelling content, I don't know what else will. I mean, like we talked about AI indexing. We talked about opportunities being able. We talked about the people that are on there had the buying power. Like we're talking about, I mean, look, people on that platform, higher income. 50% or more of the people on that platform have a college degree or higher, and 4 out of 5 people are business decision makers. So they have the money and the education and the buying power to be able to work with you. Those are the relationships I want to be able to build. So how do we do that, right? It's not all about being able to message all the time. We got to create the right content that builds our authority, right? We want to be able to go in, because there's a huge difference in being able just to create content for content's sake and building content that educates, inspires, and draws in our audience. No one wants to be sold. If you're selling someone and they sold into working with you, you have to continue to sell them. And that's exhausting, right? But if I'm educated, inspired, and drawn in, and I choose to be able to work with that person, dude, the LTV on that is amazing. That's what we want. That's the people we want to work with because they have these opportunities. So we talk about this, right? This is the rule of content that we stand by. 10, 20, 70. Who here outside of some of the people that I know already have heard about the 10, 20, 70 rule of content? Anybody? Raise a hands. And of course, I know you have. Well, this is the rule of content we stand by, y'all. And I'll touch on this pretty quickly because I really want to make sure that we get to the end and be able to ask some questions and answer some things. You know, when we're creating content for our clients, right? Like we come in, just to give you an example, like these days, like I'm really blessed, right? The men and women I get to work with are men and women I used to read their books on how to be able to start my own companies 20 years ago, right? We help them build tribes, relationships, create massive opportunity. And we do that not only through personal branding and through messaging outreach, but through their building out their content, right? We come in and we take care of all of it. We become them online. So how do we actually become someone online, right? I can't be them without them. And your content can't be you without you. That's what I want you to be able to think about, right? So the first 10% when we're talking about content rule, let Matt Shields in, it's 10% personal, right? We have to remember this, right? People connect with other people. As human beings, we look for commonalities. That's how we connect. Look at everyone here with Bellwether, right? There's a certain commonality that brought us all together, that made us choose to be part of this amazing organization. So your content needs to be able to do the same, right? Now, I want you to realize, like, it's not Facebook, right? I don't need to know when your kids are going to school, but I need to know you have them, right? Don't forget about those opportunities that are going in. As human beings, we look for those commonalities, like, oh, Josh has kids, me too, right? Like we build those things that Josh has went through divorce, me too, right? We have those commonalities, we can relate better. What I call this is my door to the couch mentality, right? When we're talking about someone went to our door, knocked on our door, like, hey, I'm Joshua B. Lee, I'm here to be able to sell you, dude, you're closing the door on me more so before I have anything out of my mouth. In today's world, like, no, thank you, right? I get the people all the time in my neighborhood. They're coming in there, hey, your neighbor down the street just bought windows. You should get my windows too. I'm like, no, I'm cool. But Anna and I are hanging out on the couch, and Anna's like, hey, Josh, I got this new pen, or dude, I got new windows recently. I'm more apt to listen to because I have a commonality, I have that personal connection, right? So that's what 10% in your content makes that relationship, right? It takes you from the door to the couch of two people hanging out. That person to go, oh, wow, you just got new windows, tell me about it, right? Like, why did you do that? That's what we want people to be able to do, to ask us why that we did something, right? There's a shift rather than selling someone or talking at someone. The next rule of content is 20%, right? Really being able to go through, talk about your company. Now, pause with this, right, y'all? I want you to think about this. Like, we don't want to be those people in the room, right? We all know them. We've all seen them. They're like, oh, there's Josh again. Dude, guy never shuts about LinkedIn. We've all been to those events, right? Avoid, avoid, avoid. That's everyone on LinkedIn. They're always talking about themselves. They're always talking about their company, and it gets exhausting. I don't want you to be that person. That's why we only do this 20% of the time, right? But when we're talking about our company, I don't care what you can do for me. Let me say that again. I do not care what you can do for me, right? Because everyone goes, I can make you $1 million. I can help you lose 50 pounds. I can get you 1,000 leads. Cool. What I want you to think about when you're talking about your company is, what have you done for somebody else? I want you to think about storytelling. Do you use stories for me to be able to see myself in the eyes of that person, right? Let me talk about how I work with Anna to be able to help her achieve X results. And this is the results that she got in. Let me tell you about what I did here. You want to be able to tell these stories, and not just about your clients. Use storytelling. Talk about what you're doing in your company, right? You're doing company retreats. Are you highlighting an employee? These are all different ways to be able to talk about your company and humanize the way we are online, right? It's not about monetizing, it's about humanizing. And that's the big shift for everyone to understand. That's what we have to be able to do. And the last piece of the 10-20-70 is this. Keep on clicking on too many things. 70% value driven, right? Add value. What am I saying here? Educate, inspire, and drawing your audience. It doesn't always have to be your content as well. If I'm on here, and I know we got Mitch on here, he is a wealth of information, and I'm sitting down with Mitch and he's giving me some massive information. I don't have any problem going in and sharing that on LinkedIn. Wow, I was talking to Mitch today and I learned X, Y, and Z. Why do I want to do this? Or I was on a Bellwether call with Joshua B. Lee, and he told me about LinkedIn, and I learned da, 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 da. If you're educating your audience, and the more you educate your audience, the more they realize they have an issue or a problem that they need a solution for, even if it's not your content, they will come to you. What I want everyone to think about is, I want you to be an aggregator of value. Again, with my age, I usually use the reference, like most people just go to Google, but back in the day, y'all, we used to go to Yahoo because it aggregated all the things we wanted. It was one page that aggregated everything we wanted to look at every single day. And that's what I want you to be, right? I want you to be an aggregator of value. I want you to be a destination site. I want your LinkedIn page to be a destination site that people go to every single day going, what is Will going to teach me about today, right? What is Dennis going to talk about that I'm going to really learn about today that I need to go in every single day? Because he is the influencer. He is the authority in the marketplace that I want to make sure I'm going into. And at a certain point, they're going to go, hey, I need help. I need to be able to go in. How can I work with you more to be able to get farther? So that's the 10-20-70 being able to go through. And we're talking about that. Some of the last pieces I'll touch here, y'all. Storytelling, right? Authenticity. Can't even say it. Authentic with a human element, right? Being able to go through. LinkedIn is the #1 trusted platform out there. It continues to be that, right? Accurate content, quality over quantity. Add value, communicate your why with thought leadership. And when you do product promotion, do not sell. Use stories to be able to go in. And wrap this all up, we're hitting about 55 minutes in here. Be consistent, post frequently, right? The do's and don'ts. Like and comment every day. Post 3 times a day, right? If you're using tags, make sure the people that you're tagging are engaging with your content. If you tag someone, like let's say I want the amazing Ira Bowman that has like 200,000 followers to engage on my content, and I tag him and he doesn't, I just lost about 20% visibility on my content, right? So don't tag people for tags. I hate that. We get people that tag us all the time that are going through because, oh, they have a whole bunch of followers. All you're doing is decreasing your visibility. And honestly, annoying people, if it doesn't add value, it doesn't represent them well, right? If you're going to use emoticons, right, it increases readability, but don't use more than 10, right? Don't go crazy on there, being able to go through. Crazy enough, we're talking about humans, selfies. People want to see the people. They want to see the people behind the brand. One of the biggest things I ever had a hard time doing with some of our clients in the past, working with amazing people, reading able to go through, is like, I don't need the well-polished stuff, right? When I see something that it looks too overproduced, overdone, you know what I'm waiting for? waiting for the pitch because I assume it's a commercial. I assume it's an ad, even if it's a social media post. Real and raw overproduced every single time, y'all. So post selfies, we actually see a 3x and more engagement on those things, being able to go through for people to see what's going on behind the camera, what you're doing, and then add value with the content. And then really, you want those first 3 lines, right? It's the hook. Before that, see more. If you don't have those first 3 lines dialed in, you're wasting your posts altogether, because if they don't hit the see more and stay on your post to be able to find out, go in and be able to get more developed, what are you doing, right? So, and the things I don't want everyone to be able to do, don't be over promotional. Be 100% honest. LinkedIn is not a platform where you need to be posting 10 times a day. Look, I know Twitter, you need to post like 3 or 4 times a day. I mean, like TikTok, you got to post 3 times a day. All these other platforms, you have to post so many times. On LinkedIn, for our highest clients, honestly, the minimum that we require them to be able to do is 3 times a week. So I'm telling y'all, like, you don't want to be able to go in a second post on the same day. You need 3 times as many engagements to get the same visibility. You're working harder, not smarter, right? So don't go in there. I'm telling you, this is a platform that you can get a higher educated audience that has buying power with the money to be able to do it and actually create less content. Now, all this isn't easy. Let me tell you, it takes time. It takes energy. You need to be able to devote time every single day to be able to do this, but the opportunity is there, right? Don't spam people. And when we're talking about this right there, always use a personalized invite. While you're connecting with someone, don't just hit the connect button. Don't just say, hey, I see you're in Austin, let's connect. We all get those. Those are deletes, right? We want to be able to build these relationships and start conversation. Y'all, I'm going to be honest. I appreciate everyone today. We're in a human revolution, right? It's not a digital revolution. It's a human revolution now more than ever with AI. As human beings, you will stand out, and let's stand out together. I appreciate everyone, and we'll open it up today and ask any questions. I appreciate y'all. Hey, who's got questions? Let me stop the share here. Oh, Michael, what's up, buddy? Go ahead. Yeah. I mean, look, like me personally, I post, 5 times a week, Monday through Friday, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays, depending on how the mood hits me, being able to go through it. I post almost every single day. I do an article every other week, and I use it as a newsletter more than an article. Articles are amazing because that Moz score is 100 out of 100. So I can even take blogs from my other content and post them on LinkedIn and not get dinged. Does that help? Awesome. Yeah. I mean, again, look, y'all, you want articles, you want posts, you want content, because not only for that SEO ability for Google, you want to be able to showing up in this AI and what's going on. This AI revolution is no joke. You need to make sure that your content is getting seen and used in the responses that everyone's trying to be able to leverage. Yeah. Well, again, Michael, I was happy to be able to help anything Bellwether. We can talk and be able to go through, but I would be taking all that content and shifting it out. And then you can actually create a newsletter on your business page as well, too. So there should be a Bellwether business page, and then dropping those articles on a more regular basis. So you can have a newsletter for your personal and for your business, y'all. Yep. So Brandon, what's up, man? You're on mute.
Hey, coming in from Austin, Texas. I think you're also in Austin.
I am, my friend. Yeah, we'll have to connect.
Absolutely. So I'm a mindfulness teacher, and a lot of people on LinkedIn also teach mindfulness and meditation, but that a lot of them, that's like a slice of what they do.
Yeah.
And I try to connect with other mindfulness teachers who are doing this full time. And I was just wondering what your insight was in trying to find specific people that are just doing that one thing. Would it be like using Sales Navigator or searching like a search term? Because I like to work with other full-time like professional teachers and collaborate with them.
Sales Navigator is magic, right? If you know how to be able to use it right. The average person uses it to be able to spam other people. They go through and be able to create a list, and they send mass messaging being able to go out. Like when you're using Sales Navigator correctly, Brandon. I mean, being able to go through, you can identify the people. There's so many different ways. You want to be able to use keywords. I mean, we've got an entire program that teaches how to be able to use Sales Navigator. I mean, that's the the start of how our engagement engine works. When we're doing that to reach out to be that dopamine dealer, the biggest thing I want you to think about too is not only being able to find them using keywords, but use this one feature, because I don't want to reach out to a whole bunch of people that are not on LinkedIn, not actually engaging, not doing anything. So one of the coolest features on Sales Navigator is people that have engaged or posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. This allows me to take a list of 10,000 people and sometimes bring it down to 500, because why do I want to spend my time messaging 10,000 people when only 500 of them are actually live and active on LinkedIn, right? So this is one of those features that you want to be able to do, not only using the keywords, but some of the features on Sales Navigator. I mean, they've just been even more robust in the last 2 months. Have some of the ways to be able to go in there. I mean, like, brother, it's magic. Use it, go through, try and pull it down. I don't want to cast a net for 10,000 people. I want to cast a net. I want to be able to find the right people that are active on the platform, that I can build that relationship, start the conversation. And if you want to connect with them, same thing. They're active, right? You want to go in like, oh, I see, like, comment on their post. The average person on LinkedIn gets less than 1% engagement on their content. So when you're liking, when you're commenting, then reaching out and saying, hey, man, I saw your recent post on LinkedIn, man. I just want to take 2 seconds and say thank you. Like, it creates an opportunity. I don't care if it's someone on their team being able to do it. Someone took time, energy, and effort to be able to create that content. When you appreciate them for being able to do that, making it about them, it opened up opportunity. And we have like over a 90% reach out to connect rate with our clients, and being able to go through by doing this feature all the time. And it always is about building relationships. That helps.
Much better to have like a list of like 200 or 500 people than 4,000, 5,000. Go more quality, engage with those people. That's what I'm hearing. And
Do you have
those
time to go through
active.
4,000 or 5,000 people? I mean, like,
No, I don't.
I mean, that's that's that whole thing, right? That sending out 1,000 messages, hoping to get one sale, when
Correct.
you can, if you treat people like another human being, man, you can have 999 advocates and still get that one opportunity. And that's so much more strong than just being able to pitch a whole bunch of people.
Got you. Thank you so much. Very
Yeah,
valuable.
no worries, my friend. Take care. Claudio.
Hey, Josh, I just want to thank you because I'm really happily surprised by this conversation. I've been to many, many LinkedIn, webinars and what have you, and they all talk about the automation and how you can reach all these people. You're actually talking about the human beings behind those names. And, when I was young and reckless just a few years ago, I tried all those automation tools, and they really just brought me all hate and people saying, stop spamming me. And then one day I said, hey, you know what? This is not about the automation. It's about me and, just posting what I need.
Yeah.
So you're just preaching what I've heard, and I really appreciate it. Excellent, excellent seminar.
Claudio, thank you so much, my friend. I mean, like, if y'all don't know, I mean, Ira and I can both tell you, I mean, being able to go through, like, if you get caught using automation on LinkedIn, you're gone. They'll delete your account. You could have an account for 15 years and be able to go through. How many people come to me all the time? They're like, hey, dude, I got blocked off of LinkedIn. I'm like, that's what automation were you using? I mean, that's usually the biggest problem going in. And speak of the devil, he raised his hand. There's Ira himself. What's up, buddy?
What's happening? Look, I didn't want to intrude. This is your deal.
You know I love you, my friend. It's always good
Yeah.
to be with you.
Look, since we're in the let's help each other out mode, let me build on a couple of things that you said and give people
Please.
actionable tools that you can take and implement the strategy. You've hit it on the head. This is a human platform. This is, if you spam me, I don't care if you tag me or message me, you're blocked. I'm done with you, because I don't want to be treated like your next meal. I want you to treat me like Ira Bowman, not the owner of whatever business or whatever, right? So what I teach people to do that builds on what you've suggested here, to get the door to couch, okay? You found them, however you found them, go in their posts. Look, you all make posts. When you make your posts, what do you want? If you're being honest, Josh calls it dopamine. What you really want is you want people to engage with your content. You want to feel validated. That's another way to say it. You're looking for that validation. So if you start with what you want with them, don't ever say great post, because that's like the biggest backhanded. I will never respond to great post. I respond to every single comment except for great posts because I'm like, what does that mean? Right? I like what Josh did. Like, what did you like about it? That's a good strategy. I learned something today. But here's what I do. I respond to every comment where people comment on my post, but that's not where I start. I'll go out and I call it chumming the water, but you're actually building up your engagement before you make your post. So for about 20 minutes before I post, I will go out into other people's posts and I will read their posts, what they're actually saying. And then I'm going to add a value-added comment. What I love to do, what I'm suggesting you do, is ask an open-ended question. Why? Because when you ask that question, you're begging for a response. It's not, it would be rude, frankly, for the author not to respond. But the reason why I say ask an open-ended question, when you ask this question, if you can make it open-ended, you can actually start to draw comments from the other people in their audience.
Exactly.
And that's how you can start these relationships that Josh has been talking about for the last hour, which is what you're trying to do. If you're not trying to build relationships on LinkedIn, you're trying to do the wrong thing.
That's it.
Josh, what did you call it? You called it advocates, I think, right?
Oh
You're
yeah,
trying to build-
dude. I mean, that's exactly what we do for all of our clients, right? We build massive advocacy first. Advocates are so much more powerful, right?
Yeah,
It's about building relationships.
I call it my referral army.
There you
And I
go.
will tell you, my number one thing on LinkedIn is to build relationships. The second thing is not to find clients. The second thing is to build my referral army. So let me give you a hint. What Josh again was talking about is all correct. When you're laying out your content, instead of making a pitch and creating it like a marketing campaign, think more like an educator. Again, Josh talked about this again with the articles and the posts. When you're creating this stuff, add value, educate people. Why? When you have advocates or referrals, it's the same thing, just different nomenclature, right? But when you educate people on what it is you do and how you help people and think of like case studies, when you do that, they may never buy from you because I'll actually debate Josh on some of the stuff he talked about with the average income and stuff because we're talking about the United States, not the world.
Of
There's a lot
course.
of people on LinkedIn that are from other parts of the world that make a lot less money. They don't have a college degree, and that's okay. Those folks have value for you. And here's how they have value. Two ways. First of all, they'll engage with your content if you treat them like people. You don't just dismiss them because they're from Pakistan or from Nigeria or these places that might scare you a little bit, right? But those people will never buy from you probably, but they can be your fan base. And they also can be your advocate or your referral army. So what happens is these guys hustle. A lot of them hustle. So they're out there and they see posts that you don't see because you're asleep or you're working. And they see somebody like I build websites, for example, I do SEO. They see somebody who says, hey, I need a new website or I need SEO. And they go, hey, you know who does that? Ira. And I get a call or an email or a direct message from somebody I've never met. And I have a lot of followers, but I'm not connected to everybody. It's 1 billion people. I got 200,000, right? So I still need help. So if you guys think like that, start before you make your post, go out and make your comments, add value, ask questions, do that for like 20 minutes, then make your post, then go out and do it again for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then as people comment on your post, like Josh said, respond and don't just give them platitude, actually treat them like a human being. Brother, you knocked it out of the park. A lot of good stuff.
Appreciate it, Ira. Hey man, you know, always good stuff. And I mean, like, look, yeah, I mean, like Ira said, I mean, we could go for days, you know, being able to go through this and being able to, you know, talk about all the different aspects on how to be able to leverage it. So I want to make sure we optimize time too. Laura, you got a question?
Hi, thank you so much for your presentation, Joshua. Wonderful. Ira had to do some education that he just said to me yesterday when I put a quick like, help me, what's the difference between this and this? So much thanks to you both. As somebody who has not used a lot of LinkedIn, but I have been doing regular blog posts, I'm also need to revise that whole profile because it's a hot mess.
Yeah.
Do you have a program for that? Or, I mean, I'm just I know you have to really have that before you probably get all of this aspect. And then because I guess one of my concerns, what I love is definitely the engagement, but how are you really authentic if you're just kind of creating comments to people's other audiences just for the sake of trying to get them to come to you? To me, I don't feel as authentic about that.
In my voice, right? I mean, that's always the biggest thing. Like, whatever it is, and I'm looking to be able to go through the people that I engage on, be it Ariana Huffington or Tony Robbins or, Gary Vee or whoever it might be, right? Like I'm only engaging on the content that actually is relevant to me, that I can actually truly add value, that I can actually speak from a background, right? Being able to go through. And I mean, I don't want you to add comments just for comments sake, right? Like if you have an opinion, you can go through. There's an amazing way to be able to do that and be able to go through and add value and actually question, right? Like we talk about, we want to be able to start those conversations, because if you're adding value to someone else's content, you're not only elevating them, right? First and foremost, but other people are seeing that and then wanting to be able to connect with you at the same time. And like you said, it starts with your profile, because if you do all this and they go back to your profile and it's not set up, your profile's not rocked out, I mean, you're going to miss out. I mean, it's going to be one of those things. And that's the biggest thing. We've actually, Talia and Andy, Bellwether members as well, are in our live cohort right now. We built an entire program on how to be able to do that, right? So, I mean, we spent 2 weeks just on your personal brand and like my wife's in it too, but we work with it with our clients. I mean, my wife's background, y'all, she used to run branding for Microsoft Partner Network. She did $1 billion rebrand for them. She ran branding for Gartner, right? These are massive companies. And now she runs branding for all of our clients, being able to go through to really understand. I mean, Anna can speak from experience, because Anna's worked with Rachel and myself too. And I mean, like, we spend more time than anything making sure that your profile is not a resume. Unless you're looking for a job, it shouldn't read like a resume. It should be your career journey, being able to tell a story in a way that draws in your audience and educates them where you've been, what you're doing, and where you're going, right? And being able to take all those different pieces in. Yeah. Does that help?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries. Nikki. You're on mute.
Yeah, no, I lost my voice because I'm sick, but you essentially answered my question. It was like, essentially what I was going to say is, when I started LinkedIn, like 50 billion years ago, I was in corporate marketing, and like, it's a resume. And so I was curious how to transition it when I've been an entrepreneur for like 8 years now. But I think the storytelling and the career journey.
You got to go through. I mean, if you look at mine, I mean, I even go back in. It's crazy to me. People are like, I'm the CEO of Standard Authority. Like, that's it. All they have. And I'm like, dude, were you born that way? Like, I wasn't. I mean, like, there's been a life of exploring where I've gone. I want to be able to actually give other people opportunity, going, hey, this is where you can go. Like, if you look at my profile, it shows my first job was I was a waiter at Chili's, right? You know how many people reach out and go, oh my God, you worked at Chili's? Me too. Conversation builds relationship, creates opportunity, right? Every single point. Don't miss out on opportunity on putting somewhere you worked, unless there's like a reason why you're like, I can't put that job, whatever. Like, put those. These are all ways of indexing, right? Not only for the algorithm, but indexing yourself for other people to build those relationships, indexing for Google. I mean, that's what we want to be. I want people to be able to draw to you, not you always having to go after everybody else. So tell that story. Anna, hi, my dear.
Hi, how are you?
Amazing.
Josh was amazing, and Rachel. Anyway, so provides so much value. Thank you so much. How do you find that increase the right people score for the insight to have a higher LinkedIn?
It's finding the right, it's those relationships, right? Like, once you're actually connecting, how are you actually having the conversation with them back and forth? Like, LinkedIn's they're not monitoring like what you're saying in the relationships, but they are watching how many comments or how long you're going back and forth with somebody. So that is the one way to be able to do that. Like, when you're connecting with someone, are they not only having a conversation in the DMs, but are they also engaging on each other's content? So I mean, there's two pieces. Like, if you connect with someone, they never engage on one of your posts, that's not that they feel like the relationship's not there. Like, you connected wrong. So you're looking at the DMs and how much each other are engaging to be able to build that score. But it's one of the harder scores to be able to build. That's
the engage with insights, or the find the right people?
Find the right people.
And then the engage with insights.
Engage with insights is just always being able to add value and have the author respond to your comments and other people responding to your comments, right? That's what LinkedIn is looking for more than ever now. That's the highest weight, is when you comment, how many people are actually commenting back, especially the author as well.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
No worries. Good to see you.
Yes, you too.
Tina.
Yeah, hi. I came on late, so you might have already covered this, but
it's okay.
I get a lot of likes rather than just comments. How do you deal with just the likes?
I mean, likes are great. You can go through. I mean, this is that whole thing, right? Engage with people that engage with you. If I want to be able to start a relationship and be able to go through, I can go through and reach out to every single person that liked my post if they didn't comment. And my first initial engagement with them to be able to build that relationship is, hey, Tina, I just want to reach out and say thank you. I noticed you like my recent post. Love to be able to connect with you and find out what pushed you to engage in my content, right? And so what we're doing is that dopamine deal, right? We're dealing dopamine to say thank you. And when you condition someone every time they engage to actually comment and engage back with them, it continues to condition them to be able to do that more like, ooh, I like that. Tina recognized me, right? Like, and going through. And then same thing with your content. If your content isn't asking questions, isn't polarizing, that might be why you're only getting likes. I mean, I'm going to be 100% honest. This is the biggest problem I see across all social media. And this is what I want everyone to pay attention to before, and we'll leave it on this, right, y'all? As human beings, we make decisions based on some degree of love or hate. We do not make decisions being indifferent to something. If you are indifferent online, you're creating content indifferently, you're wasting the number one resource we all have and don't get back, time. You're not only wasting your time creating that content, you're wasting time of the person to read it, right? If you're just creating content, you have to be polarizing. You have to be able to push, because we need people to love or hate us, right? Like if you want massive advocates, you're going to have to be polarizing and push away the people that don't align with you and drawing your tribe, right? So Tina, that's what I'll be 100% honest with. Like, if you're just getting likes, like I would push you to be a little bit more, vocal about what you believe, how you want to be able to do, to start saying, I want people like Ira, like earlier today, right? He was like, yeah, I don't 100% agree with you. Like, dude, I'll put content on there. Get Ira to be able to comment on there, right? Like, I want him to disagree with me so we can have a conversation back and forth. And I'm gonna tell you, it's not like it sucks. We live in a world where if you have a different belief than someone else, you have a different thought process of someone else, like you're not friends anymore. And that really, really sucks. But I'm not gonna let that affect. If that person's gonna come in, I mean, like, I could tell you, like, my wife yesterday, someone that she went to UTMBA with, they connected and they asked her, oh, why do you have pronouns on your LinkedIn profile? And, he's like, I knew you were a girl all along. And she's like, well, and then he said something extremely like very right wing. And I was like people are like delete, right? Like Ira said, when people are going through it, they're spamming me if they're adding stuff, like, cool. I want you to be able to say those things. So I want you to understand where I stand, because I want to understand where the other people are. And I want to drive my tribe in, and that's fine. If haters going to hate, like, you've got to drink that haterade as well too. So you've got to create that content that actually is gonna be able to draw those people in, good or bad, and be okay with it, because that's the world we live in. Because I could say one thing, but everyone has elbows, right? Like they all like to be.
Got it.
I'll use elbows, right?
Josh,
everyone has one.
But let's
And Michael, and the one thing I will say too, brother, is like, look, my number one rule in my household that I teach my kids, and this is the same thing. People go, how can you give endorsements if you don't know anyone? It's nice to be nice. That's the number one rule in my household. It's nice to be nice, right? So like, I'm not telling you to create polarizing content that is tearing other people down. Don't do that. But I mean, like, yeah. And I'm not saying that you're saying that either, Mike. I'm just making sure that's very clear. Like, I want everyone to understand, like, I want you to be able to go in and be you, be 100% you 100% of the time, on and offline. It's so much easier being yourself than trying to pretend to be someone else online.
But as you raise your visibility on social media, just know that it's coming. You will have trolls. You will have people that we can call them haters or whatever you want. But there's lots of people who don't like Ira, and I'm totally fine with it, because I'm not everybody's cup of tea. In fact, I'm a cup of black coffee. If you don't like black coffee, you probably won't like me, and that's okay, right? But if you cannot handle negative critiques and criticisms and comments, then you probably shouldn't be on social media as an elevated status, right? Like, so when I went from 1,500 connections on LinkedIn to 30,000, I had trouble with it, honestly, because I'm so used to being polite and people being polite. And I started getting a lot of people who are no longer polite.
Yeah.
And it took a while for me to adjust to it. And then as I got to like 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, like it continues. It doesn't stop. It just increases. But what does change over time is you learn how to deal with it. So just know it's coming. Don't take it personally. And just maybe what Josh said, I just say it this way. Always be nice. Just because they're spewing hate doesn't mean you have to return fire. Remember that you're on public display and your words live forever. Even if you delete the post, it's still out there on servers. So make sure that you represent yourself in a way that you're comfortable with, but expect to get some hate. As the larger you grow, it's exponential. It's just going to come with it.
I always tell everyone in business too, like if you haven't received your first online complaint and, write up, that negative write up, like you really haven't built a business yet. I'm going to be honest, if someone hasn't, put you on a forum and said like, oh, this person, you haven't built a business yet. You're not big enough to be able to, and that's the same thing with social media, right? Like when you get bigger, if you haven't said something that someone else doesn't agree with, then you're not saying anything anyway. And I don't know how influential you really are, standing out, really creating massive shift. Everyone here, like y'all, I tried to change this world on my own years ago. I damn near killed myself. I contemplated being on this planet, and it was exhausting. I was very blessed that someone gave me permission to be able to take my life back and be able to truly change what I do. I know now that I can only change this world and make it better, not only for my kids, but for future generations with other amazing human beings like y'all on this call. Like that's truly the only way we can be able to do it. How do we do that? We have to be able to change and be able to speak our mind and be able to add value and excite and really draw in our audience and push them to create that change that we're actually looking for at the same time. So well, I'll go to Claudio real quick, and then we'll go on from there and let everyone go their day. Yeah, I mean, of course, LinkedIn, right? That's easy to be able to do. Y'all can connect with me, please. I'm pretty much sure I should everyone, but at the same time, Joshua@standoutauthority.com is an easy way to be able to email me directly. I'd love to be able to talk with anyone, how I can be able to help and serve. That's what it's here about. Claudio, I know you had one more question, my friend.
Just one more thing. One thing that I discovered very recently, and I think it could add a lot of value, is a little bell that's on the right side. So when I want to start connecting with somebody, I always put the bell and I put receive all messages. And I tell the people that follow me, please click on that and answer my messages as well. That helps a lot, and it eliminates a little bit the haters and connects you with the people that you really want to connect.
Claudio, well said, man. And like I said, we could spit here. Like this is why we got an 8-week program, right? Because it could take that long to go through every aspect of being able to teach all those things. But I mean, like, thank you so much for adding that, brother. And thank y'all. Appreciate everyone. And I look forward to being able to talk to everyone. Bye, y'all.
Thanks so much, Joshua.